Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky finds himself at a crossroads. As the leader of a nation embroiled in a relentless conflict, he faces the daunting task of navigating Ukraine through one of its most challenging periods in modern history. The stakes are incredibly high, and every decision he makes could have profound implications for the future of his country. He's locked in a struggle for his nation's survival. The bravery and resilience of the Ukrainian people are on full display as they defend their homeland against a formidable adversary. Russia's invasion in 2022 continues to cast a long shadow. The devastation wrought by the conflict has left deep scars on the landscape and the psyche of the nation. Zelensky, a beacon of resilience, seeks to bolster Ukraine's defenses. His leadership has been a source of inspiration, rallying the nation to stand firm in the face of adversity. He has set his sights on a valuable asset, Ukraine's rich mineral reserves. These untapped resources represent a potential gold mine that could significantly boost the country's economy. These resources, he believes, hold the key to securing much-needed aid from the United States. By leveraging Ukraine's mineral wealth, Zelensky aims to attract investment and support from one of the world's most powerful nations. Zelensky's pursuit of a minerals deal with the US is not new. It is part of a broader strategy to harness Ukraine's natural assets to gain international backing. It reflects a broader strategy to leverage Ukraine's assets for international support. This approach is crucial for a country that is heavily reliant on external aid to sustain its war effort and rebuild its economy. He sees the US as a crucial partner in this endeavor. The United States, with its vast resources and geopolitical influence, is seen as a linchpin in Ukraine's strategy to secure its future. The potential deal, however, has been met with complications. Negotiations have been fraught with challenges as both sides grapple with the complexities of such an agreement. Disagreements over terms and conditions have led to stalled negotiations. The intricacies of international diplomacy and the high stakes involved make every discussion a delicate balancing act. Despite these setbacks, Zelensky remains committed to securing a deal. His determination is unwavering, driven by the urgent need to provide for his people and ensure the survival of his nation. He recognizes the urgency of the situation. The ongoing conflict and the economic strain it has placed on Ukraine make the need for a successful minerals deal all the more pressing. Ukraine's economy has been ravaged by war. The destruction of infrastructure and the displacement of millions have left the country in dire need of financial support. The need for financial assistance is paramount. Without it, the prospects for recovery and stability remain bleak. A minerals deal, he believes, could provide a lifeline. It could inject much-needed capital into the economy and create jobs, helping to stabilize the nation. It could bolster Ukraine's finances and strengthen its position in the ongoing conflict. A stronger economy would enable Ukraine to better support its military efforts and provide for its citizens. Zelensky's determination underscores the high stakes involved. The outcome of these negotiations could shape the future of Ukraine for years to come. The outcome of these negotiations could have far-reaching implications. Success could mean a stronger, more resilient Ukraine, while failure could leave the nation vulnerable and struggling. For Ukraine, it could determine its ability to withstand Russian aggression and rebuild its shattered economy. The stakes are nothing short of existential. For the US, it presents a complex dilemma, balancing strategic interests with the need to support a democratic ally under siege. The decisions made in these negotiations will reverberate far beyond the borders of Ukraine, influencing global geopolitics and the future of international alliances. The tension was palpable in the Oval Office on February 28, 2025. The room was filled with an air of anticipation and unease as two world leaders prepared to engage in a high-stakes negotiation that could shape the future of their nations. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky sat face-to-face with former US President Donald Trump, who had returned to the White House just weeks earlier. The atmosphere was charged, with both leaders aware of the significant implications their discussions held. The meeting, intended to revive the stalled minerals deal, quickly devolved into a standoff. What was supposed to be a constructive dialogue turned into a battle of wills, with neither side willing to back down. At the heart of the impasse were Trump's demands. He was adamant about securing a substantial share of Ukraine's mineral wealth, a proposition that caught Zelensky off guard. Trump insisted on a significant share of Ukraine's mineral wealth in exchange for the substantial aid provided by the US since the war began. This demand was seen as a bold move, reflecting Trump's characteristic approach to negotiations. Zelensky, caught off guard by the proposition, found himself in a difficult position. He had to weigh the immediate benefits of securing aid against the long-term consequences of ceding control over Ukraine's valuable resources. He acknowledged the generosity of American support. Zelensky knew that the aid had been crucial in sustaining Ukraine through its darkest hours, and he was genuinely grateful for the bipartisan backing from Congress and the American people. He expressed gratitude for the bipartisan backing from Congress and the American people. This support had been a lifeline for Ukraine, providing not just financial aid but also a sense of solidarity and hope. However, he was unwilling to concede control of Ukraine's resources. Zelensky understood that giving in to Trump's demands could undermine Ukraine's sovereignty and its future economic stability. He viewed Trump's demands as unreasonable and potentially detrimental to Ukraine's long-term interests. The stakes were high, and Zelensky was acutely aware of the delicate balance he had to maintain. The meeting exposed the fragility of US-Ukraine relations. It highlighted the complexities and challenges of navigating international diplomacy, especially when national interests are at odds. It underscored the challenges of navigating complex geopolitical interests. Both leaders had their own agendas, and finding common ground seemed increasingly difficult. For Zelensky, it was a stark reminder of the delicate balance he had to strike between securing vital aid and safeguarding Ukraine's sovereignty. He had to consider not just the immediate needs of his country, but also its long-term future. For Trump, it was an opportunity to assert his deal-making prowess and prioritize what he perceived as American interests. He saw the negotiation as a chance to demonstrate his ability to secure favorable terms for the US. The Oval Office standoff ultimately ended in stalemate. Neither leader was willing to compromise, and the impasse remained unresolved. No agreement was reached, and the future of the minerals deal remained uncertain. The lack of resolution left both sides contemplating their next moves and the potential repercussions. The meeting's fallout reverberated across the international community, raising questions about the future of US-Ukraine relations and the potential implications for the ongoing conflict. The world watched closely, aware that the outcome of these negotiations could have far-reaching consequences. While the prospect of a minerals deal held significant economic appeal, it was clear that economic incentives alone would not suffice for Ukraine's long-term security needs. The country, rich in natural resources, saw the potential for economic growth and stability through such deals. However, President Zelensky understood that economic prosperity could only be achieved if the nation was secure from external threats. Zelensky remained adamant that it was not enough. He knew that without a solid foundation of security, any economic gains could be easily undone by renewed conflict. His vision for Ukraine was not just about immediate relief, but about building a resilient nation capable of withstanding future challenges. He emphasized that true security for Ukraine extended beyond financial aid. It was about creating a sustainable and secure environment where the Ukrainian people could thrive without the constant fear of aggression. This meant bolstering the country's defense capabilities and ensuring that its military was well-equipped and well-trained. It required ironclad guarantees from the US, a commitment that went beyond words and promises. Zelensky sought a formalized agreement that would ensure the US support in both the short and long term. This was not just about military aid, but about a strategic partnership that would help Ukraine navigate the complexities of international politics. A commitment to stand by Ukraine not just in the present conflict, but in the face of future threats. Zelensky envisioned a future where Ukraine could rely on its allies for support in times of need, creating a network of partnerships that would deter potential aggressors. Zelensky, acutely aware of the historical context, harbored deep mistrust of Russia's long-term intentions. He knew that history had a way of repeating itself, and that without strong alliances, Ukraine could once again find itself vulnerable to external threats. He pointed to a pattern of broken promises and ceasefires, a cycle of aggression that had plagued Ukraine for over a decade. This history of conflict and betrayal underscored the need for reliable and steadfast allies. He pointed to a pattern of broken promises and ceasefires, a cycle of aggression that had plagued Ukraine for over a decade. The scars of past conflicts were still fresh, and the memories of lost lives and destroyed communities served as a constant reminder of the stakes involved. A cycle of aggression that had plagued Ukraine for over a decade. The ongoing conflict had left deep wounds in the nation's psyche, and Zelensky was determined to break this cycle once and for all. Zelensky's insistence on security guarantees stemmed from a profound understanding of the stakes involved. He knew that the future of Ukraine depended on its ability to secure lasting peace and stability. This was not just about military strength, but about creating a society where people could live without fear. He knew that even with substantial financial resources, Ukraine remained vulnerable without a robust defense system and the unwavering support of its allies. Financial aid could help rebuild infrastructure and support the economy, but it could not protect the nation from external threats. Ukraine remained vulnerable without a robust defense system and the unwavering support of its allies. The country's defense strategy needed to be comprehensive, incorporating advanced technology and strategic alliances to create a formidable deterrent against potential aggressors. He sought assurances that the US would remain a steadfast partner, not just a temporary benefactor. Zelensky's vision was for a long-term partnership that would provide Ukraine with the stability and security it needed to thrive, not just a temporary benefactor. He wanted a relationship built on mutual respect and shared interests, one that would stand the test of time and geopolitical shifts. His pleas for security guarantees resonated with many within the US government and among the American public. There was a growing recognition of the importance of supporting Ukraine, not just as a matter of strategic interest, but as a moral imperative. They recognized the moral imperative to support a nation fighting for its survival against an authoritarian aggressor. The struggle of Ukraine was seen as a fight for democratic values and human rights, resonating deeply with the American ethos. However, the question of how best to provide those guarantees remained a subject of intense debate. Different factions within the US government had varying opinions on the best course of action, reflecting the complexity of the issue. Some advocated for increased military aid, providing Ukraine with the means to defend itself. They believed that a strong and well-equipped Ukrainian military was the best deterrent against further aggression, providing Ukraine with the means to defend itself. This approach focused on immediate and tangible support, ensuring that Ukraine had the resources it needed to protect its sovereignty. Others favored a more cautious approach, wary of escalating tensions with Russia. They argued for a balanced strategy that would support Ukraine without provoking further conflict. Wary of escalating tensions with Russia, this perspective emphasized the need for diplomacy and careful negotiation to avoid unintended consequences. Zelensky's unwavering focus on security guarantees underscored the long-term nature of the challenge facing Ukraine. He understood that achieving lasting peace required more than just ending the current conflict. It required a comprehensive strategy to prevent future aggression. It was not simply a matter of ending the current conflict, but of preventing future aggression. Zelensky's vision was for a secure and prosperous Ukraine, free from the shadow of war and capable of charting its own course. He recognized that true peace and stability required a fundamental shift in the regional security architecture, one that ensured Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. This meant working closely with international partners to create a security framework that would protect Ukraine and promote stability in the region, one that ensured Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Zelensky's quest for long-term guarantees was a testament to his commitment to his country's future, a future where Ukraine could stand strong and independent with the unwavering support of its allies.